So today we're going to discuss a prolonged labor, uterine rupture, and a baby suffering an HIE brain injury. I'm going to be working from the definition for a prolonged labor as 20 hours or more of contractions and the baby is not born. So you've got, and this is going to depend on the literature that you look at, but just in general it's going to be if you've got 20 hours or more of contractions and the baby is not delivered, you're more than likely in a prolonged labor. A prolonged labor can be extremely problematic, especially when mom has had a previous C-section, and that is because, if she's trying to do a vaginal delivery now, and that is because a prolonged labor can increase the risk of a uterine rupture occurring. A uterine rupture is exactly what it says. The uterus ruptures, and it is an obstetrical emergency. One of the main areas of concern with a uterine rupture is going to be hemorrhaging, mom losing blood. And so it's imperative that when a uterine rupture occurs, that doctors and nurses immediately move and take action on this. The baby is connected to mom. So if you've got mom hemorrhaging and losing a lot of blood, then it stands to reason that the baby can be adversely impacted by mom losing blood. In some cases, if that uterine rupture is not, if the bleeding is not under control, mom can die. And so for the baby, when we're talking about an HIE brain injury, that is a reduction or a cutoff of oxygenated blood, which can lead the baby to suffer an HIE brain injury. So if mom is being adversely impacted, mom is losing a lot of blood, then of course the baby can be in pretty bad shape in some cases. So this is why that, especially when you have a prolonged labor going on, that doctors and nurses, they are paying close attention to what's going on. How is mom progressing? Is this thing moving? If not, then you've got to take certain actions. And during this process, what are the readings on the electronic fetal heart monitor? What are they telling the doctors and the nurses? How is mom's contraction patterns? What's going on with baby? How does baby's heart rate look? Are you still having accelerations, or are you now moving to decels, prolonged decels? What does variability look like? Is it absent variability, or are we talking about minimal variability? What is the heart rate? Is the heart rate too high? Do we have this tachycardia going on, or do we have bradycardia? All of these things are important when assessing this situation. And remember, the doctors and the nurses, they are trained to understand what these things mean. The things that I've talked about in this video, they understand what these things mean, and they are trained to take certain actions based on what they see. So to wrap this video up, we've discussed prolonged labor, we've talked about it, we've talked about a uterine rupture, and we've talked about an HIE injury, and we've talked about this in the context of mothers who've had a previous C-section and then they've gotten stalled down, or they've had a, their labor is not progressing, and now they've had a uterine rupture that has happened, and the baby has had now a traumatic brain injury. So this video is just to give you more information about these critical issues when we're talking to families, when they're trying to figure out, okay, why does my baby have this HIE brain injury? How did this happen? That is the purpose of this video today. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick video. I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice lawyers practicing law here at Boston Law Group LLC. We'll talk with you next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.